Welcome, dear friends, to our time of devotional reflection for Tuesday, July the 18th, 2023. I'm Brian J. Munro, pastor of Kitimat First Baptist Church in beautiful Kitimat, British Columbia, and we are following John MacArthur's devotional book entitled Drawing Near, Daily Readings for a Deeper Faith. Today's entry is entitled Illuminated by the Spirit, and we read from Scripture, from 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of the darkness into his wonderful light. Our thought for today is God has granted you the ability to understand the truth and live accordingly. Pastor MacArthur writes, in the natural realm, darkness can be a debilitating and frightening thing. The story is told of a missionary who was on board ship one dark night when suddenly he was awakened by the frantic cry of "Man overboard!" Immediately he arose from his bunk, grabbed the portable lamp from its bracket, and held it at the window of his cabin. He couldn't see anything. But next morning he was told that the flash of his lamp through the porthole emitted just enough light to enable those on deck to see the missing man clinging to a rope. They rescued him seconds before his strength would have given out. The light had shone just in time to save the man's life. In the spiritual realm, darkness is even more devastating because it represents sin with all its disastrous consequences. 1 John chapter 1 verses 5 to 6 says, God is light, and in him there is no darkness at all. If we say that we have fellowship with him and yet walk in the darkness, we lie and do not practice the truth. Unbelievers are characterized as children of darkness. They are enslaved to Satan, the prince of darkness, who blinds their minds so they don't see the light of Christ's glorious gospel. To know more about that, read 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. They love darkness and reject light because they don't want their evil deeds to be exposed. That's what the Gospel of John talks about in the 3rd chapter, verses 19 to 20. Christians, however, have been called out of darkness into God's marvelous light. That's what we read in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9 at the beginning of this devotional. That refers to God's taking the initiative to save us. As an unredeemed sinner, you could never have turned from darkness on your own because you had neither the ability nor the desire to do so. God had to grant you saving grace and the illumination of his Spirit so you could recognize truth and respond accordingly. That blessed privilege is known only to Christians. What a joy it is not only to not only recognize God's truth, but also to walk in it daily. My dear friends, I thank you so much for taking some time to listen to this devotional reflection. Thank you for letting me be the conduit, the one who reads it, and I pray that it's helpful to you. In addition to reading this, I've taken Pastor MacArthur's suggestions for prayer and for further study, and I've placed them in the description portion of this video so that you can read them and interact with them, and I do encourage you to do so. His ideas for prayer are very much excellent, and his suggestions for further study helps you understand the concepts of what he was talking about. So please do that. And until we can be together again tomorrow to hear another devotional reflection, I bid you go in the peace of the Lord.